been searching, let me tell you, for something real I can hold on to. I found out from an insect the meaning to life is happiness. Now eternal suffering for anyone gone into the crystal ladder structure. Again we're born, we'll lie down to be eaten before you awake. It's like morning in the desert, it's like chocolate cake. A love without condition, I was told by an insect the meaning to life is happiness. Oh, I've been searching, let me tell you, for something real I can hold on to. I found out I was lying on the back lawn, and the meaning to life is moving on. I was down where the Murrumbidgee flows, with my feet in the water, felt the spirit in my toes. Lying on the bank with your rhythm in my chest, the meaning to life is happiness. Oh, I've been searching, let me tell you, for something real I can hold on to. I found out from an insect, and the meaning to life is happiness. I saw you last night looking like a neutron star. You were wiping your eyes, wondering where the hell you are. Go to bed in the museum, waking up in the wilderness, and the meaning to life is happiness. Oh, I've been searching, let me tell you, for something real I can hold on to. I found out the truth from an insect, and the meaning to life is happiness.
William, thank you for joining us on The Right Note.
Thank you for having me, Rod.
There's a real intensity and a fierceness to you when you perform. Where do you, I guess, go when you're actually playing?
I just let the song take me wherever it is going to take me. You know, sometimes you're right, there's a fierceness. Sometimes I'm smiling inside. But I just, you know, music has that effect on me, so I try not to think too much about it before I play. Every time I play is a little different, and it's a different experience, you know, and for me, and I imagine it sounds different too.
Yeah, and the song we just heard is Happiness, which is off your new album, Empire.
Correct.
And there's a lyric in there, I found out the truth from an insect, the meaning of life is happiness.
Mm-hmm.
What does that line mean, I found out the truth from an insect?
Well, it pretty much means what it says. I was sitting, it was New Year's Day, and you know, this writing process for this album has taken me through a number of ups and downs, because I was investigating some things that made me very sad and angry. And then this particular song came about on New Year's Day. I was sitting in the backyard at a mate's place, watching the sun come up. Everyone else had gone to bed. And I started to notice the sound of the animals and the insects, and just realised, you know, that we're all from the blue dot. You know, it's all... no matter how bad it gets, it doesn't get that bad. You know, we're still here. There's some horrible, horrendous stuff going on, but here in my situation right now, and I needed that at that point. You know, and you could see the crystal lattice structure and whatnot. New Year's Day. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned the animals then, and one of the recurring themes I picked up on the album is actually using animals as a metaphor. You talk about in 999, I was a crow, I was a lizard. You talk about a crow in Fire in the Empire, and I believe maybe it's kookaburras in Devil's Tongue?
Yeah, well, there's kookaburras in there. There's kookaburras through there chanting.
Yeah, right. Why are animals such why do you use them as a metaphor consistently throughout the record?
Well, they're just... you mean lyrically?
Yes, sorry, lyrically, yeah.
Because they're in there too, the soundscapes of them are recorded.
Yeah.
They're just a big inspiration, you know, and I think there's a part of each animal in all of us, and there's a part of us in them, obviously. And so I think that's what fuels a lot of my music, you know, especially with this album. I was noticing the different rhythms and the different sounds and calls and chants that animals make, you know, the way they move and and in formation or not, and just paying attention to that really helped evolve my musical feeling, and evolve my musical output, because I was all of a sudden not really constrained to things that I'd learnt, like other humans playing music. I took the time to really to listen to what else was going on, the soundscapes of the world in which we live, and that provided a lot of inspiration for it.
Okay. And you mentioned that you were exploring some things that made you quite sad during the making of this record. Are you able to talk a little bit more about that? And did they actually impact your lyrics on the album?
Yeah, and it goes hand in hand with what you were just talking about with the animals, because I grew up out in the Riverina in a little place called Ardlethan. Then I moved around a bit and moved to Tumut and grew up in sort of, general small Australian towns. And as a white kid growing up out there, you don't really get the full story of what unfolded here during the colonisation. And so the last few years since the making of the first record, I've really investigated that, and it is dark and it is painful to read about what my history has inflicted upon First Nation people here.
Yeah. Is there a song in particular on the album that you would really address that in?
There's a few, and then it fleets in and out. But I think I don't want it to become a negative.
No.
Because obviously it's some horrendous acts and some things there that really made me angry and sorrow. But the main inspiration was the fire that burns within First Nation people worldwide in the face of the adversity that we've thrown at them, And I think that is something we can all learn from. And I think that, moving forward, I was just, we ask ourselves questions, in this time that we aren't distracted with other things. And I was doing that. I was thinking, how could it have been different in another dimension? How could that unfolded in a different way?
Right.
And I thought to myself, it'd be very interesting if there was that fusion of technology and First Nation ideas and history and ways. I think it'd be a very interesting place. And we're still a young country. We can still fuse a lot of our ideas and form a more evolved national identity. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned your first album, and I guess people who heard you and who'd only heard you from that first album probably had you pegged as in the sort of the folk or Americana / Australiana genre, whereas Empire, I think, really kind of blows that wide open. There are so many different moods on the record and a lot of different sounds. Was that one of your goals going into this, to actually show a different side to you?
I think that I've just grown. It's been, and the people around me have grown, the people who worked on the record with me, because it's pretty much the same people. My wife, Jules, my brother, Luke, my good mate, Matt Sherrard, Ruben Alexander. There's a couple of new friends who we've made during the process of this album, but I think we're another 3 or 4 years down the track in our lives, so we openly express that in the music. And I think that it was an evolution both of expressing the things that I observe and musically as well. My playing had got a bit different, my taste had got a bit different, and also, like, from a lyrical point of view, I dealt with a lot of the things from my life until that point on the first record, and this record was definitely more reactionary to immediate surrounds as well as looking back in history.
Okay. And the first song on the album, Fire in the Empire, I believe actually came to you in a dream.
It did.
When you were at the Bogan River, is that right?
Bogan River.
I mean, firstly, do songs come to you in dreams often?
Always.
Do they really?
Yeah. That's how a lot of them come. Like when I'm especially in just that time before you wake, where you're kind of just stirring, or the time before you go to sleep.
Yep.
I find that a lot of songs come to me then.
Right.
And but the Fire in the Empire in particular, we were camped out at the Bogan River near Nyngan there, and we're on the way to Adelaide, and I just had a dream that night, and the song outlays what exactly happened in it. And I had lots of lyrics. I had pages of them, and then my wife Jules and my good mate Jason Walker, we kind of sifted through them. And Jules added some lyrics, and Jason added 1 or 2 things, and it became what it was, because we all had those similar feelings, and it was just, I don't know, it's interesting, because then how you're not really responsible for that.
Yeah.
You don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And so it's just being honest to it and being a conduit of whatever that is. Whatever it's a part of you, obviously, as much as it's a part of anything else.
Yeah.
But you don't own it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the land we live on. We don't own it.
Yep.
It's just a part of us. We're a part of it.
Yep.
I feel the same about music.
Yeah. When you're about to fall asleep and an idea comes to you, is that sleep done for the night? Are you like, oh, I've got to get up and write this down now?
It's interesting you would say that because it depends on what else is happening. Like sometimes I have faith. I think, oh, it'll be there in the morning.
Right.
And sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But
Okay.
anything that's I like tends to come back
Okay.
at some point.
Right.
But that one, Fire in the Empire,
Yeah.
I wrote down pretty much immediately. But I was thinking of it a lot. It was
Yeah.
one of those, and most of the dreams, like, you can't forget them.
And the last song we're going to hear from you today is Someone.
Yep.
And you've got Goera guesting on that on the record.
Yep.
How did you come to work with him?
Well, we did a show down at Arthur Boyd Centre on the South Coast, and I'd never met Garawa before, and we did the show together and we started talking after it, and you know, I was just intrigued with him because he's a very intriguing fella. He holds a lot of knowledge and he's a nice man. You can easily approachable, and started to have a yarn, and then we just started to build on that. You know, I started to listen to a bit of his music when he plays live, especially, and then he happened to be in Nashville when we were working on the album.
Right.
And so I said to him, why don't you go in and have a listen and see if there's anything that, you know, inspires you to do, you know, if you want to do anything. And he had a listen, and sure enough, he heard something and sung on it. So
Nice.
it was cool.
Well, look, William, once again, thank you very much for coming on The Right Note, and best of luck with the album.
Thank you for having me, Rod. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Someone's fallen in war. Someone's preparing for love. Someone's walking out the door. Someone can't get enough. Someone got up off their knees. Someone got down on their luck. Someone needs more than a fuck. Someone's impossible to please. Someone is crying, someone lying, someone's thinking of you. Someone's dreaming, or else deceiving, leaving a finger on the trigger of truth. Someone found God today. Someone turned the key to life. Down where the particles collide. You filled it inside. Someone is crooning, someone losing, someone's taking out the bins. And you're in trouble under the rubble. I'm burying my sin. Someone's getting on the gear. Someone's in a cold grave. Someone's getting out of here. Someone is crying, someone lying, someone's thinking of you. And someone's dreaming all